This is a test of the YouTube channel recording devices. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to try to make a YouTube video about the 1/6 insurrection and the procedures that are being done right now by the 1/6 special committee from the House for trying to get to the bottom of the 1/6 insurrection. And the real problem that we have with this 1/6 commission is that they're not really trying to get to the bottom of the insurrection. What I mean by that is, what is the real and true cause of the insurrection? They mostly want to try to tie it to Trump and give credence to the idea of the big lie and Trump trying to interfere with Congress, the authority of Congress to certify election results for the peaceful transfer of power from one president, Trump, to his successor, Biden, as the winner of the presidential election. Now, there are a lot of real problems with that scenario that I just outlined. And it starts with this whole idea of what is democracy? What is our democracy? And when we look at it that way, our democracy today is based on several factors. One is the ability to choose leaders and lawmakers through competitive partisan elections. So that's one. Another is the idea of the peaceful transfer of power. And the third is, give me a second, I'm trying to figure out everything I think I know. The rule of law. So what they consider to be democracy is free and fair elections to choose leaders and lawmakers, the lawmakers to make law that we will be compelled to follow through the rule of law, and leaders to make the decisions of our union. I'll put it that way, union. So you have leaders and lawmakers. Then you have the peaceful transfer of that power from one elected leader to another. And you have the judicial branch to uphold the rule of law and actually to decide what they call constitutionality of laws. And that's what they're calling democracy. But when we actually look at what is democracy, we don't find that what we do today constitutes a democracy. And then when we look at Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States, that guarantees every state in the United States, in the Union, a Republican form of government. So the federal government has to be a Republican form of government, some form of a Republican form of government. And we have to ask ourselves what constitutes a Republican form of government. Because in order to form a larger republic, all of the constituent parts, which are the states, must themselves be Republican forms of government. So we have to understand what a Republican form of government is before we can understand whether or not we have constituted a Republican form of government. So this is where I'm gonna go with this in the next, if this is a successful recording, into the next phases of what I try to discuss. And what I'm trying to, what I will be trying to do is actually define what constitutes Democratic and Republican forms of government, how they are assembled and how they function. And then we can look at the electoral processes to assemble government and what the roles and responsibilities are of the elected officials who work within that system of government. Because when we look at what Democratic and Republican forms of government are, they are all collective governing systems. Okay? Collective governing systems. And they all form a participation versus compliance agreement. They're all from participation versus compliance agreement. And you have to participate in a legislative form of government, which is what all Democratic and Republican forms of government are. They're all legislative governing systems. And they require participation, period. And that's why they have quorum requirements and majority consensus requirements. So you have a quorum to operate, and you have a majority consensus to reach an agreement for the assent to any measures that you decide. And that's what creates a collective governing system, whether it's a democratic system or a Republican system. And a democracy is to a republic as arithmetic is to calculus. What I mean by that is a democracy is of a group, and every member of that group has to participate. And a republic, they all participate through representation. So you form a representation of the population so that all the people can participate as if they were in the legislative assembly and participated themselves. That's the difference. And that's what we'll be talking about. Thank you.